Freelancer di più, persa non venite, avevo tanto pazienza. belepakolni. Valamiben szépen vissza is teker. Kezdtünk egy üzétet, ilyen, hát szerelők kezdtünk mindjárt, hogy bőlből szordított ilyen a része, és az űreink vannak belőle. Ez a podcast kezdtünk voltak, és pártól keresni kezdtünk egy biztos nem jók lenne, de lássuk, ez elfogadom ezt a valóságban. Ott van, ahol lennie kell. Gyorsan ezt a dolgát. Nagyon kemény. Ez az ülés, ez nagyon kényelmes. Hát ez meg nekem nem megy. Most itt bennülök a szék, vagy az ülésbe, de kíváncsi lennék amúgy, hogy hú, ez meg egy kontrollerrel megpróbálom. Pusztuljak meg. Tényleg kipróbálom úgy. Elővettem a jó öreg kontrollert, azt nézzük, hogy én vagyok a Béna. Jó, várjam, nem. Kellett. Szinte hozzászoktam. Régen játszottam tényleg. Szörnyű. Esküszöm, ügyesedik érzem magamat kontrollerrel, ez nagyon gáz. Úristen, jó mondjuk, hát 2024 van, ami azt jelenti, hogy rögtön 25 éve játszott Gran Turismo-val. Jézusom, még kimondani is durva. 25 éve Gran Turismo-val. Nyilván a kezem rá van állva. Aki azt mondja, hogy kontrollerrel nem lehet játszani a Gran Turismo-val, úgy tudják be, hogy nem lehet nyocskos lehet élvezni. Ó, Istenem, ez nagyon gáz. Akkor van, hogy Béna Béla. Remélem nem velem még megkapni, hogy feleségemben, ha azt látná, így kittülök a szimulátorról, az kontrollerrel játszott, azt mondja, hogy hihetetlen idióta vagyok, de lehet igazán. Hát biztos hozzászokok, vagy nem tudom. Japán, sok volt. Ez kell egyet véd lenni. És valahogy a kezembe venni a kormányt, aztán vissza is esnék az utolsóban. Mindezt úgy mondom, hogy szerintem tényleg van 2 hónapja, hogy nem játszottam, de hát még lehet ennél is több. Rendesen egy óra volt, mire lefrissült a Gran Turismo, mire be tudtam indítani. Ez mi? Ez egy ereskos volt pedig? Rassza, jó, csak írtam úgy, mint egy szélbe. Itt beszéltem, még éppen. Hát ez amúgy nem mondász. Nem tudom, kívülről, hogy így a játék nézésén látszik-e, vagy kontrollerrel játszott, vagy nem tudom, hogy erőszakgatott egy szögletesebb a kormányzáson, vagy akkor csak ugye, mert ugye kontrollerrel van egy ilyen kis hülye köcögtetés. Joystick részén, és akkor azt nyilván látszik, hogy lehet vele úgy. Bár lehet egyébként, hogy nagyon finoman az ujjával húzgálja és tologatja az ember jobbra-balra, akkor lehet vele úgy tanulni, mintha kormányt tartanál a kezedben, a hüvelykújadra, de szerintem úgy látszik rajta, hogy ilyen kocogtatós nélkületekkel szoktam tanulni. Emlékszem, hogy a PlayStation 1-esen ugye egy darab gyári kontrollerem volt, és a második kontrollerem az csak analóg volt, tehát azon nem volt ez a joystick rész, de annyit írva, hogy a PS1-esen az most 25 éves, ha jól tudom, tökéletesen működik a joystick-es, amivel nincsen. És a PS4 Pro az 6 éves körül van, és az nem kontrollerrel megnyertem, hihetetlen. Tehát, hogy ez mi most? Megnyertem a Weekly, de nem meg az, hogy az eddig, ja, meg kellett Weekly hozzá a... Ja, most tisztára nem vagyok képbe, azt hittem, hogy a menükönyvben versenyzek, de akkor ez a Weekly Challenge volt. Szóval, hogy 6 éves a PS4 Pro, és annak sose volt egyik kontrollerjének sem semmi baj. Hát az $5 millió felé. Boom! És és a PS5-ösnek a gyári kontrollerje egy olyan 50-60 üzemóra után elkezdett driftelni, úgyhogy gyakorlatilag használhatatlan, tehát nem lehet vele játszani GTA-ba sem, meg semmibe, mert elmegy a karakter jobbra-balra, mikor merre. Tehát gyakorlatilag használhatatlan. Hallod? Hát itt mi van? Ez az Evolution Meeting. És itt már aszfalton kell versenyezni. Na nézzük, súly-lóerő arányban még mindig ez a legjobb autóm. Ja, Istenem, de jól néz ki a 4-es Lancer. Sőt, még 3-asom is van. Csak hát ugye az... Na, menjünk ezzel. Igen, csak... Autodromo Nacional Monza. De most ez is... Dirt Boom is lesz, vagy ez most mi? Már az aszfalton megy. Ez a verseny. Nem tudom, de ezt most csináljuk kormánnyal. Jó. Meg kell kasszálni. Hát oda szól, bizony. És napszemüvegben, indokolatlan napszemüveg használom, sötétben. De amúgy ötlen. Aztán maradhatsz. Aztán igen. Őszinte lesz, de csak látszom.
a fogammal, és még 3 éves voltam, akkor kaptam akkor tört le. Volt.
És nem tört le a fogad?
Megcsinálom, hogy is kitört le.
Csak teljesen.
Igen, de azt nem rajtunk vannak. Sáj, csak nem dál. És akkor amit
Várok, hogy 40-es évet voltam rajta, hogy nem tudom, hogy de nem dolgoztam még benne. Ezért mert így a forma sokkal csak ide tudok bőkezni. Megfordulok felettem, és mindenki Szerintem amúgy itt vagyok, ott mindenki
az utolsó.
Figyelj már, öreg. Tudod, mit kaptam az előbb? Egy 500 000-es kis bilétát. Be kéne dobni az aciba. Figyelj csak. Most azt van, hogy itt belépünk a garázsba.
Igen, csak miért volt olyan sötét?
Hát mert kicsit gondolkodott a mašina. Azt nézd. Azt is
Először ezt.
Először ezt?
Igen, először ezt.
Na, mit fogunk nyerni? Ó, azt a sok aranyat, azt a... Nem. A sok arany, sok arany, sok arany. Fogadjuk a főtengelyt, kapjuk meg. Oh. 10 000 kredit, figyelj. Gondoltuk, kösz. Jó van, aki egy kicsit nem becsüli, az a nagyot nem érdemli, úgyhogy jó van, az így, kösz. Jó, figyelj csak. Rengeteg kocsink van amúgy, ezt vágod? Vágó István? Van itt minden.
Ez még neked meg vannak?
Igen, ami meg árnyékos, tehát ilyen, az meg még nincs meg. Szóval néhány gépjármű igazgató van a garázsban. Porszívózni is elég lenne ezt a garást, nem? Hallod-e? Uff.
Elfelejtettek porszívózni. Na?
Ja. Nézzük már meg, hogy nem lehet-e venni valamit azok kocsik közül, ami...
Olyan öreg kocsi.
Most a frissítésben volt. Azt mondjuk pont nem költenék rá egy fillért se. Hé, ja nekem van ilyen mercim.
Igen, de még vissza még. Ez nekünk megvan, ugye?
Onnan tudod, hogy megvan, hogy nézd, amelyik autó megvan, az itt kékkel van jelölve, amelyik nincs, az meg ilyen üres. Látod? Fú, nagyon komoly gépeink vannak.
Ezt meg kell venni. Ja, de
nem, hát megvan. Bocsássál meg, kérlek.
Na, ezt meg kell vennünk.
De ez 20 millió kredit. Ahhoz mi csórók vagyunk.
Ja, nekünk egy 10 000-ünk van, meg 50.
Nem, 2 millió 177 000 kredit. Pont a 10 része kb.
Ja.
Mi ez az új Suzuki? Új Suzuki Jimny, nézed csak. Ez nem, nekünk ilyenünk van. És ilyenünk nincs. Ez jól néz ki.
Akkor vegyünk meg.
Tudtad, hogy ez teherautó?
Van.
2 személyes, úgy árulja a Suzuki, hogy teherautó. Mondjuk ahhoz elég kicsi. Ezt én nem szívesen vennék egy ilyet, hogy legyen a garázsba, de amúgy...
De én igaziból vennék.
Úgy nem használnám nagyon.
De én mindig használom.
Na figyelj, nézzük, hogy van-e itt valami olyan kocsi, aminek még nincs meg. Ez?
Le?
Ja igen, ezt valaki kirakta Facebookon, hogy most 3 fajta RS500-ast is árulnak a használt autók közt. Mind megvan nekünk.
Mind.
Hát látod, kék a kiskönyv mindenhol. Nincs semmi olyan autó, nincs, amit most meg tudnánk venni, pedig volt most egy frissítés. Várjál. Ebből a frissítésből, és csak például ez a kocsi nincs meg nekünk, ez se, ott a jó kis Ford Escort, az sincs meg ez sincs meg. Ezt meg tudnánk venni, de így nem érdekel. De
igen, erre
nagyon vágynék, nézd. Egy Escort RS-re,
én is nagyon vágynék.
De nem tudom, hogy hol lehet megvenni. Tehát,
vagy Németországban, vagy Angliában. Akit én nagyon rá vagyok ragadva Angliára.
Igen?
Igen, én nagyon rá vagyok ragadva.
Így 5 évesen. Figyelj csak, haver. Nincsen.
Egy Fordot?
Arra gondoltam, hogy nem itt van.
Egy Ford. Ezt kell. Ezt is megvehetjük, vagy ami mellette van ott balra. Ez.
De ez megvan színen. És nem itt van a Sierra, úgyhogy az a használt autók között jelenik meg majd valamikor szerintem. Tehát...
Ford Sierra?
Nem, Ford Sierra. Hát figyelj, akkor lenyomjuk még azt az egy versenyt a menükönyvből, és akkor biztos kapunk valami autót. Elhiszed? Ez is aszfaltos verseny lesz. Ez jó kis pálya. Öcsém, na nyomjuk neki. Hallod, képzeld el ezelőtt, volt egy rally versenyes pálya, amikor 9. lettem, meg 12. Aztán fogtam, a kezembe vettem a kontrollert, és megnyomtam a versenyt. Érted? Kontrollerrel. Hát
Ogni poi extra file.
ci volta. És mesélsz róla. Gazdagokat és kereseteket oldalás készülően van hajdogatnak azt, amikor repülőtérbe bánnak azt tudod. Igen, meg a kerültető megkötött azt tudod. A rámokról a kerültető, és azt nem tudta a a figyelőt visszanézni. Láttam, hogy egyszerűen, hogyha újra tudhatatlan, kb. Ezt történt a de amikor neki csapódtál, akkor megfelelően jól megvoltál. Az a baj, hogy ott benne vagy, és pedig azt a plusz nekem ott. Amikor benne vagy egy sztoriba, akkor nagyon hangos szoktál lenni. gondolják vissza, és hogy visszaváltok, a változó, annyit vagy ezt nagyon nem tudom, hogy úgy kéne csinálnom, hogy előre vagy megszégezni, kicsit azt után beljegyen, és utána visszaváltam, hanem nem váltok vissza, akkor meg annyi lesz a földrajzán.
van, jól mondtam.
Valaki löp mérten. Kilotte.
Nem mondott semmit. Útba rohan. Non mi scherzo. Adesso no. Uff. Ez az, végre. Hú, de király. Ezt már nagyon megérdemel. Mindig azokat a lópikula pénzeket kaptam. Na, ez király. Fú, banyek. A GTR Nissan, de rohadt jól néz ki.
We're ready in the commentary box, the drivers are ready as well, and here is how the grid will line up for the final time in 2024. 12 teams ready to take to the field, and it's Honda on pole position. Shonen Nematane, the man who will lead their chance at the start. Saya Suzuki on the front row of the grid as well. Then Team Porsche with Benjamin Hengse for company on the second row, and Lexus with Kanata Kawakami. Alongside Adriano Corazza will take along for Toyota later on, with Yamanaka starting this race. Subaru with Helena Stroza also at the wheel. Genesis line up 7th with Dean Helt starting this charge for them. Jun Hashima for Ferrari lines up P8. 9th position, Yusuke Goto for Chevrolet. 10th is Mercedes-AMG with Guy Barbara starting their charge. Then it's Audi and Daniel Penko, the Spaniards. And Mazda completing the 12-driver strong field with Robbie Heck. Now, the only dry compound of tyre that the teams have are the medium compounds. And as the track is dry, they are all starting on the mediums here, Jimmy. Now, it's a rolling start, so we shouldn't expect any dramas down towards the first corner. But up the rise through Rouge and Radion, there's a good chance of some overtakes.
It's dark and foreboding here at Spa at the moment. You can see the grey skies. I mean, I think we know what's coming at some point, but when do our drivers, what do you do with that strategy? All starting on mediums for now. Honda leading the way here at Spa for the grand final. Will they still be there come the end of the race?
Well, who is going to be crowned as the Manufacturers' Cup champion of the 2024 season? We're about to find out in 20 laps as the grand final here in Amsterdam gets underway. Honda leading the field across the timeline. We are ready to go racing for one more time this season and crown our world champions here at Spa. Honda lead the field down towards the first corner, and already a flash of rain looks like it's beginning to start in these early stages. BMW, Porsche, Lexus leading them down towards the first turn. Out of La Source, up through Eau Rouge and Radion, and on the run to the Camel Straight and into Les Combes is where we'll see the slipstream coming into effect. And of course, for Nematane, the man who's leading the charge, he does not not have that hole being punched in the air in front of him, so he may be under a bit of pressure in the early stages. You can already see a little bit of water on the racing line on the circuit, so let's see how this one works out. Here come BMW against Honda. Up the Camel Straight we go into Lake Coombe, and Suzuki takes over the lead in the early stages at the front.
Yeah, I mean, easy there. Porsche also looking at the inside. Big lunge there by Team Porsche, knocking Honda off. Returning the favour. Team Honda, big slap there. I think that's Nevertani at the wheel there off that Honda. I mean, all's fair in love and war, but I'm not sure the stewards will agree with that one.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what you've got to remember in this race. You can't win it on the first lap, but you can certainly lose it. Toyota getting into the back of Porsche there, and also in turn pushing Honda a little bit wide. It's aggressive, it's feisty. Honda now side by side with Toyota through X as well. Toyota with no room. Genesis trying to find their way through. They've got momentum. This is scrappy here, lads, in the opening lap of this one. Genesis now side by side with Toyota down through Pouon. 2x2 through there is a little bit brave. Toyota managed to get the better of Genesis, or do they? Because they still run side by side on the exit. That's going to shuffle them out and allow Subaru to come back through and try and challenge them for position, and do so. So Toyota, the big losers on the opening lap, they've lost 2 places from where they started.
Yeah, massive start there, but Dean Hout in the Genesis car really getting his elbows out early doors. I mean, Dean's definitely that sort of driver. He'll make the move if it needs to, but then understeering through the first step, though, that allows Team Subaru to try and get into Stroza in the car for them at the moment. But that's a small gap now opening up between first, second, third and fourth, and that second pack in fifth backwards. But at the front, Team BMW have just bolted away at the moment. Suzuki at the wheel, we know how quick he is in that BMW, just showing it there, taking the place early, and he's just cleared off.
So Honda, not a particularly brilliant start to their race. Let's have a look at what happened here with this overtake then down into Lake Coombe. On the outside here of BMW now, Honda, keep an eye out for Porsche behind, because they're going to come through stage right. Up the inside they go, pushes Honda a little bit wide. They go off to the run-off, returning the favour. Porsche get muscled out there as well. And like candy from a baby, Lexus go through and up into second as well.
I think the move from Porsche is a little bit optimistic. I mean, you've got to go for it, of course, but then that to rejoin from the Honda. I don't know if it's because they just hit a bit of AstroTurf and the car didn't grip, but it looked like it just slid sideways onto the back of the course and collecting Porsche on the way through. So, I mean, sometimes I think the stewards just go, well, listen, you're as bad as each other, deal with it, and then no further action. But I've not even seen them investigating yet, so...
No, it seems like it's been indeed a racing incident, because, as you say, there's been nothing flashing up on our timing screens. Up we go in towards Lake Coombe. And Porsche sitting there in third place and not close enough to mount a challenge to Lexus at the moment. Benjamin Enkse behind the wheel of that car, the Hungarian driver who was made an emphatic debut earlier on this year. If you remember back to World Series 2 in Prague, challenged for the victory right up until the final corner. And I dare say if that track had been a couple of hundred metres longer, he would have been on the top 7 of the pack. It all came down to tyres in mixed conditions. So let's see whether they can repeat that feat here tonight. Genesis versus Subaru, Ferrari and also Chevrolet. Four abreast. Look at this. How do you thread the other needle? Ferrari are going to outbreak themselves and go straight off into the Ardennes. Chevrolet left to pick up the pieces there. Well, and somehow Genesis and Subaru managed to emerge without any problems, as Mazda have picked up a 1 second penalty.
I love the Ferrari there, where they were heroes for approximately a second. And then just completely off they go. But Nevertani in the Honda there, just about clinging on inside that top 4 at the moment to the back of Porsche. BMW is still there with Suzuki, I think gradually, very slowly pulling away from the cars behind. Just seems to have that little bit more speed in these early stages. But it's a team game. They're only on lap 2 of 20, and each team still has 2 drivers yet to go, so it's far from over, but BMW, your early leaders.
So Subaru there in the wheel tracks of Genesis. I mean, that's good for them, because it'll help them with their straight line speed deficit that they've been struggling with, as Mazda just drops down after that penalty to last position in this one. Angel Stroza behind the wheel of that Subaru, a Porsche man for many years. If you remember back to the World Tour, as it was named there, back in 2019, he burst onto the scene by taking victory for Team Porsche at the World Tour event in Tokyo, and we'll be keen to see what is going to happen here for the team of Subaru, sitting in 6th position at the moment. So BMW lead them 1.7 seconds back are Team Lexus at the moment. Toyota there in 7th place as well, and Mercedes-AMG not too far adrift there either. It's all pretty calm as it stands for now between these drivers, and we'll be keen to see what's going to happen and how this is going to work out. So up the rise we go on the Camel Straight. You see Subaru there with Toyota in front at the moment. In towards Lake Coombe we go. All close up in front there as well between Genesis and Honda. That's an exchange for position, and Honda being muscled to the outside here, and Toyota and Subaru ready to take profit as Honda are left down in the doldrums, going through into the right-hander of turn 7. Subaru are going to get shuffled onto the curb on the outside here, down in towards turn 8. We're going to go on the inside for Honda. Mercedes are ready there to try and take advantage. Subaru are going to get it hung out to dry, but the track will come back to them. Are they going to be able to hold on to 7th place? Oh, onto the grass. They just about managed to keep it facing in the right direction. Great recovery there from Angel Enestrosa, because that could have been quite messy, but a very busy couple of corners.
These guys are going hard. I mean, it's early doors yet, and everyone's acting like it's the last couple of laps of the race, but really, really aggressive so far. So far, Guy Barber's done a great job in this Merc AMG. He's up 3 places. I mean, we saw him earlier on in the Toyota GT Racing Cup. He was very good at scything through the field early doors. I've got to say, it's been a bit of he's been good today, but that's not going to make him very popular. Running into the back of the Honda in front. A little word maybe uttered under the breath of Guy Barbara there as we go up now towards Blanchimont very fast. He's got the draft on Honda and Navatani, but what an awful start for Team Honda. Down 5 places, maybe even 6 here as AMG looks up the inside. Not quite enough space to do that now, I don't think.
Yeah, up the inside through to Blanchimont, you need to be having a willing dancing partner, or you need to be comfortable having your Christmas dinner through a straw. Going in towards the bus stop chicane we go. Is Guy Barbara going to have a lunch to the inside? Thinks better of it, and he's got to keep an eye on behind him. Whoa! A door open very late there between Honda and Mercedes. Mercedes now on the outside. Chevy are going to join the party. 2 for the price of 1 as Honda get muscled out down as well. 3 abreast down the top, finish straight. So Subaru in the mix there as well. Honda shuffled down to 10th. On the inside is Subaru. On the outside there you've got Mercedes as well as Ferrari. Again still 3 abreast on the exit of La Source. Ferrari shuffled out onto the curb, onto the outside. It is kicking off dramatically here, and I wonder whether the teams, the drivers, are just thinking about the fact the rain's coming in and they've got to try and make up as much progress as they can because of the strategy changes that are going to be involved in this race.
And Gotto there for Chevrolet just went, oh thanks, I'll take those, and just took like 3 places there and all that melee. So yeah, crazy in the midfield right now. Everyone desperately vying for position, but of course you don't want to be fighting too much in these early stages because otherwise you might lose ground to the leaders. And again, there's some contact in the background. Ferrari, I think, coming to blows with Team Honda. Navatani has had an awful first stint, down 8 places. What is wrong with Navatani?
You're making it sound like top of the pops here, Dewey. Down 8 places,
down
up
8
2 places.
I know he's gone, he's out there, but that team is our biggest loser so far.
Yeah, it's not been good, has it, at all for Navatani? And the problem is that then means it's going to be an uphill struggle from that point on for his teammates, Matteo Estevez and Valerio Gallo. They're going to have a lot of work to do, and of course we know the weather is going to be closing in before long.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to get very tricky very, very quickly. But that's a great part about these GT live events. They don't make it easy for our drivers. We know they're some of the best Gran Turismo drivers in the world. As you look at that clown, my God. You just see that. I mean, yep, it's over, boys. It's coming.
You've got to cue the Jaws music, haven't you? Because you know it's an inevitability. And the thing is as well, I suppose some of the teams are thinking about and will have had to have the difficult discussions of who's quicker when it gets wet. Because, you know, some drivers are quicker in the dry, some are tricky in mixed conditions. Let's have a look here at Toyota. This is in front with Honda and Genesis. Oh, look at that. Toyota just, the sea's parting for them.
Beautiful. That's how you do it. That's how you get those places made. But that's part of being a driver here, is you have to be able to see those moves happening. You have to be able to understand that these things unfolded in front of you and how to react to them. But to go back to your point, Tom, about drivers having that conversation, I mean, part of being a team player here is knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and being honest with your team, because you can't perform at your best if you aren't all performing well and playing to your strengths. There is whether, oh, look at that. Yeah. Here it comes.
And you can see it's going to be coming in a fairly heavy intensity as well, because it's going sort of, what's that? South, I've never reached shredded wheat. Hang on a minute.
Northeast.
Yeah, northeast. There you go.
God, mate.
I know. Geography was never my strong point. Yeah, can you tell? Anyway, it's coming in northeast, and you can see it's coming in a fair old intensity as well, and it's going to hit where's at the bottom of the circuit first, so sort of Lake Coombe area and down through the Stavolo corners. That's where the rain's going to start to hit, but depends on the sort of intensity. You can see if the checker flag fell now here on lap 5, that's what the points rankings would look like, but there's a lot of time for things to change, and that of course depends on the fact if Lexus finish in second. If they get dropped down to 3rd place, well, it could be BMW that take this crown.
Yeah, I mean, all can change. We've still got a very long way to go in this race. Honda there holding on for dear life, whereas Ferrari and Subaru team radio here. It's Team Subaru Team Subaru there saying one more lap. Then what? On to another set of mediums, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's no sign of the rains here yet, as we saw from the weather radar, so that's the only logical option. You can't go out on intermediate tyres on a bone-dry track, can you? Otherwise that would be, well, it would be daft, wouldn't it, really, if you think about it? We'll wait and see what's going to happen, though, with that weather and how quickly it's going to come in.
I feel like you'd wait, though, you know, if you could see that, because they've all got access to the same weather radar we do, would you not wait?
Well, that would be the logical thing, unless they're trying to throw a dummy and play a bluff. Let's have a listen. That'll be Genesis then in 5th place, saying they're catching BMW. So behind the wheel of that is Dean Helt, who we saw has been getting his elbows out in the opening stages of this race.
But you can see that they're looking at the big picture. You know, they're only in 5th right now. They're not looking at 5th. They're looking at BMW. Go, right, they're the leaders. We are catching them, which means that we're going to be, you know, we're some of the quickest on the circuit. Let's just keep that up. Let's just keep moving forward. As we watch Team Lexus there go into the bus stop again, followed by Porsche, Toyota, Genesis. That rain getting ever closer as we get further into this race. And again, the teams all have this information. So the guys will be back on there, I say the pit wall, in the lovely seats of our Theatre Amsterdam at the front row there, just giving that advice to their teammates. And Porsche, where's that come from?
Penalty for colliding with another car. Is that an incident that we haven't seen on screen? Because they're not particularly close to anybody this moment, unless they had it coming together with Lexus that we didn't see about. It could have been for earlier on in the race. Now Subaru and Mazda in the box at the end of lap 6, but we know that weather's coming in now. Which way are they going to play it, and who are they going to change over driver-wise to as well? So onto the wet tyres, Subaru, on a track where it's not even raining at the moment. So they're trying to get them ahead of the curve, essentially. Innestrosa out of the car. Into the car goes Kylian Drummond. Heck out of Mazda. Jura in the Mazda. They've gone for a differentiation in strategy here. Mazda going on to the intermediate tyres. Subaru going on to the extreme wet tyres. The rain not even arrived at this point. That is a bold call at this stage. Oh, it has arrived. Look at the wipers on.
There is some rain, but I just think, especially for Subaru, it's far too early for the wet tyres. Surely, I've been saying that. Look how the rain is now coming out of the X corners. You go down towards Buon. And Suzuki there, you can hear the rain just coming down the roof of the car there. Let's see if there's any really deviation in line. Still giving it, you know, the full beams at the moment, but it is going to get to the point soon when the track grip does start to reduce. And of course, with slick tyres, once you lose the heat, it's over, basically. So what you're trying to do now is just keep pushing, keep the heat in the tyres. I'm sure we'll see him boxing at the end of this lap, but I just think going for the wets and the intermediates, you just lost about a lap of dry pace from that, which is not the way.
Well, let's see how this plays out. Mazda have got the better of Subaru on the intermediate tyres. The rain is at its heaviest at this point on the circuit. In terms of the weather radar, we can see from our commentary box it is going to be absolutely tipping down over the course of the whole track. Very, very dark clouds, and you can look at that. So anyone who's on the slick tyres, they now have to come in. Look at how quickly the complexion of this race has changed as the rain has come down very, very suddenly, and those who are on the slick tyres are going to have to come into the box. But are those who pitted early, Mazda and Subaru, going to be able to take benefit of that early stop? I don't think they are, because the pace, though it's going to be a bit slower, I don't think it's extremely slow. It's not like they're tiptoeing around, is it?
No, I mean, they seem to be at a decent pace coming in. But now's the real question. Do you go for intermediates, or do you go for a full wet tyre? I mean, the idea is you try and skip the intermediates if you can, just to make, if you are going from one extreme to the other. Let's see. All our drivers coming now, but every team in. Unsurprisingly, as the rain comes down, you can see now the trails in the pit lane. Waiting for our first car to come in. Here is Team BMW, our leaders. Now, what do? This is crucial for their race. They go on to the wet compound tyre. Full wet there for BMW and Lexus. Do Porsche and Toyota follow suit? They don't. Labutile in for Team BMW. He spoke to Super GT Steve Brown earlier. He said Labutile, one of the fastest drivers in that BMW. Now, here are Team Mazda, Team Subaru. They opted to pit earlier, but they're miles away. Absolutely miles away.
It was a bold gamble. I didn't think it was going to be one that particularly paid off. I'll tell you what is interesting is you've got a right mixture of tyres here at the moment. Some have gone on to intermediate, some have gone on to wet, and the problem is it's moving quite quickly, this weather at the moment. It's sort of going from a light blue on our weather radar to a dark blue to a light blue again very quickly, and dark blue means it's heavy rain, light blue means it's light rain. So this is going to be hugely interesting. Of course, different drivers now in the car for the most part as well. Labusle's behind the wheel of the BMW. Lopez now in for Lexus. Mosso in for Team Porsche as well. Serrano in for Toyota. Yes, as Yuito Sasaki in for Genesis inside the top 5 as it stands for now. The top 2 on the wet tyres. Likewise, Genesis and Chevrolet. Porsche and Toyota sticking with the intermediate tyres then at this stage in the race. And only time is going to tell if this is going to be a gamble that will pay off. We'll have to look at the sector and the lap times.
Yeah, we'll keep you updated, of course. We'll have a little while before we know which is quickest. Coque Lopez now in the car for Team Lexus. Man, this guy, what a veteran of Gran Turismo. He's won pretty much everything. So he knows how to win a race here at Spa in the Group 3 cars. And we'll be keeping an eye on some of the crossover times. Let's have a look. So we think that at this point, the best tyre to be on, if you're doing 2-minute 30 lap time plus, it's a heavy wet. Intermediate, it's about a 224 to 230, and under after the racing mediums, anything under a 224, you should be on that slick compound tyre. They're definitely slower than that right now. We're on board with Team Toyota, and the rain already seems to have sort of let up a little bit. It's not quite as dark as it was before, but still coming down through this second sector. Now we go, tough spot here. Team Porsche taking that wet line, getting off that rubber, and then onto the curb on exit. Wouldn't want to usually be there, but seems to be a little bit grim out there. Jose Serrano, Team Toyota, going up the hill. Looks like Lexus, Coque Lopez, is bringing that gap down to BMW in front.
Like a freight train on Porsche and lunging to the inside, down at the bus stop, side by side they go. Porsche are going to give this one up too easy, and Toyota have to settle for second best, but can they get the switchback on the exit of the corner? Coming out of the final turn we go then for Porsche, and they do manage to hold on to third place for now, but Toyota having a look on the inside, maybe into the source, but Porsche parking it on the apex and holding firm for the time being. Now a look at the lap times. Wet tyres for BMW and for Lexus, 236.3, 235.2. Porsche and Toyota about the same. There's not much difference, is there?
You only think the Inter is maybe slightly quicker, but only slightly at this point. And we look at Toyota and Porsche. Lexus also closing up on Team BMW, but you have to think this is probably going to be it now for Team Porsche and Toyota. Porsche going to threaten to go to the inside line. Serrano's going to have to go the long way around the outside, but you might want to do that really if it's the wet. That straight line speed of a Supra, proving that it doesn't even need to matter what line is on. Drive straight by that Porsche in a straight line, and up to third place go Team Toyota. Great move there from Jose Serrano. Now can he latch on to the top 2? The gap is about 4 seconds between him and Coque Lopez, his fellow countryman in that Lexus. So it's got a bit of a gap to bring down there, but let's see if that intermediate tyre is the one to do it on.
Ferrari have picked up a penalty as well. Down in 9th place, Mohamed Badima now behind the wheel of that car. It's not been a particularly fortuitous day for them, and likewise Honda still struggling to make an impression after a quite difficult start to their race. After being on pole position, they've dropped down into 8th position. They're now on the wet tyres, whereas everybody else around them is on the intermediate, and if the track gets wetter, they're okay. If it gets drier, they've had it, really. We'll wait and see.
You say that, weather radar, which we'll try and show you guys very shortly, is we're coming to a heavier bout of rain again across the circuit. So if you are on those intermediate tyres, it's about to get a bit more sketchy for you. For the wet tyre runners, maybe the right choice to be on that tyre at this time. But it's so hard to choose. Looks like Toyota's actually fallen off the back a little bit. Lost a second and a bit in that middle sector.
These intermediate tyres are going to be coming to the end of their life now here, aren't they? Look at this, Porsche struggling, Toyota struggling, Genesis on the extreme wet tyres. This is going to be easy, because you don't need a car with an engine, you need a boat with 2 oars out there at the moment here at Spa-Francorchamps. Genesis now versus Porsche, and surely this is going to be a formality as we head into the next braking zone of the bus stop. You've got to go one at a time into Blanchimont, or can Genesis take that advantage? Well, they certainly think about it, and they're being slowed up by Porsche here as we head through there, but Porsche are going to surely run it wide, and that will play a little bit off line as Genesis then do go now through and into the 4th position. Next target is Toyota as the rain buckets down here at Spa-Francorchamps.
Yeah, it really is getting tricky out there now. Team Radio. That's definitely Genesis, I can tell there straight away, and that was aggression. Through they go. They need that. They need to be pushing now. And look at this. The fight for the lead is closed right up. Coque Lopez is now right on the back of Thomas Labutele in that BMW. Coque Lopez on a charge right now, on board now with the Spanish driver in that Lexus RCF up Eau Rouge to the top now through Radion. and we're now just into the draft of the car in front. Do we go for a move here? We latch onto the back of the team BMW deep into the slipstream. Let's see if the racing line differs. Still on the draft. Will Coca Lopez go through his pull out to the left, then ducks back inside, dummies him, takes the place, goes up into first and holds the BMW's contact, and they're both off into the grass there. Same thing happened earlier on, Tom. He just got onto the AstroTurf, and there's no grip out there. Just slides back onto circuit.
It's so hard to hold the line when you've got a lack of adhesion when the rain is coming down in the intensity. It's starting to ease off a little bit again. It was heavy for just a minute or so, and that favoured the wet weather runners. But if the track again dries out, if the rain gets lighter, and according to our weather radar that we can see in the correspondence, it looks like it's going to for a little while. So that could bring the intermediate runners now back into play in a lap or so's time.
Genesis up to P3 in the background too, so they're the P3 in the background too, so they're really making the most of this wet compound tyre. Here's a replay of what happened there. So we're on board with the Lexus, just on the roof cam here. Great move by Coque Lopez, puts his car up the inside, he's got it there. Then just a tiny bit of contact. The BMW goes off onto the AstroTurf. It's not really those things where it's like, okay, it's his fault. When he's out there, I think there's no grip. There's zero grip, so he just slides back onto the circuit. Though he does keep the position, which I'm sure Coque Lopez won't be too happy with.
No, the thing is, while they're squabbling amongst one another, they've got to bear in mind the fact that that gap to Genesis is going to be closing. I know it's about 7 seconds there and thereabouts at the moment, but you know, if they have another couple of corners like that, that could easily be halved in a matter of moments, can't it?
Both of them really on the edge of grip right now, just trying to get that traction down. And again, Coque Lopez smells blood in the water all over the back of that BMW, coming up now towards Blanchimont. Very, very fast left-hander. See, just a little bit more confidence, I'd say, from Coque Lopez behind. Will he ever go into the bus-up? He likes the heavy late braking zone. Does Coque Lopez? He does. Lunges up the inside. Will he get stopped in time? No. Straight on goes Coque Lopez, but he's got the inside for this left-hander. Just about had the door shut there by Thomas Aboutalé. What a battle here for first place, and the crowd love it.
Absolutely amazing. Amazing. We're at the halfway stage now here of this race, and the top two are knocking 7 bells out of one another. If Coque Lopez had misjudged that, been a couple of metres later on the brakes, that would have gone down like a knackered lift. Fortunately, they managed to keep it facing in the right direction. BMW then lead by 0.3 of a second over Lexus at the moment, but Genesis closing the gap now. It was 7 seconds just a lap or so ago. It's now down to just over 6 seconds.
And what a show these guys are putting on for our audience here at Amsterdam. The grand final, of course, of the Manufacturers' Cup. We're halfway through the race now. BMW and Lexus so far are your headlines. Back on board with Coque Lopez. He fancies another go at it. This time he's going to try the outside up towards Lake Como, side by side. Not being much grip out there. He's on the curb. Is he going to make it stick? He goes all the way around the outside. Coque Lopez and Team Lexus up into first place. And now I think, Tom, we're going to see Lexus and Coque Lopez just put the hammer down and try and extend that gap.
Well, let's not forget that the Lexus team won the Manufacturers' Cup, the inaugural one, back in 2018, and there is an opportunity for them to do that here tonight if they do take victory and clear off in the points tally. Just to go back to some of the intermediate job runners, by the way, they're nowhere at the moment with the track being as well as it is. They're about 2 or 3 seconds off the pace of the wet weather runners, and that has really helped Subaru out at this middle stage of the race. They were down in last place just 3 laps ago. They've now brought themselves back up into 9th position, so they're slowly creeping their way back through the field. But I dare say, on the horizon there, Jimmy, looks like the clouds are easing off a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Man, I love change of weather in a race. It just makes everything so much better, doesn't it? It really does. And Coque Lopez, again, we talk about the guy's experience. I mean, he's still in his 20s, but he's one of the most experienced drivers here at the moment, knows this game back to front, knows this car back to front, and just showing exactly what he's capable of when he's given a free track ahead. Already the gap up to nearly a second between Lexus and BMW, and you see really, really battling with traction there, but just skirting on the edge of grip and making it look easy as he does it. So your order right now, as we come to the end of lap 10, it's Team Lexus from BMW and Genesis in P3. So here's a replay between Porsche and Toyota. What happens here? Toyota looks to the outside. Oh, just runs into the back of Porsche. Does it spin? Oh, masterful recovery, but AMG Davies there. Who's at the wheel of that right now? That's Kamata. No, sorry, that's not him. Sorry, my bad.
Behind the wheel of Mercedes is Daniel Benton.
Yeah, he just... Well, all right, well, like that.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Lovely.
Again, go.
The sea's parted. That's the thing. Keeping your car on the straight and narrow, not getting involved in any bother, it could prove to be very, very beneficial. You can see, meanwhile, Chevrolet have closed up onto the back of Genesis here, 0.7 of a second, so they're within slipstreaming range. Behind the wheel of the Chevy at the moment is Antonio Santos, the Frenchman who's making his World Series debut here this weekend. And we'll see whether he is going to be able to ruffle a few feathers at the moment.
How's Chevy done that? Team radio. Yeah.
So let's see whether Chevrolet can depose Genesis down. And look at that, blue skies up ahead. So the rain beginning to ease off, and this might bring the intermediate shod runners back into play. But are we going to see wet drivers going on to intermediates, or rather you're just going to wait for the track to dry out and go on to slicks? That's a crucial point. Oh, more problems for Porsche as they spin off on the exit of Avalo, all of their own accord, and go tumbling down the order. What a shame for Artemosso.
They were... Oh, man, Mosso's not happy, is he?
No, he wasn't.
No,
he wasn't. He certainly was not, Artemosso, and now down into last place. Well, very fine margins here in the GT World Series.
What I was going to say, sorry, before we saw that replay there, is that is our second place, current second place in the standings.
Yeah.
Now, pretty much out of it.
That is it. We need to have a look at the live point standings, don't we, at the moment? Well, it's Lexus and BMW who are at the top of the pile, and Lexus, by a comfortable margin, if the checker flag fell now, would be crowned as the champions. But there's still plenty of time for things to change, and as you saw there for Porsche, a couple of mistakes over the case of a couple of laps, and their race has turned completely on its head.
And we've only seen so far 2 of the 3 drivers from each team. So still a couple of drivers yet to go. This race could still change, as you say. And now it is still raining slightly, but you can see the water is starting to be dispersed there as Team Genesis really hanging out on that curve. You don't want to be there in the wet. It's very, very slippy out there.
Hello.
There is still, I mean, there's still rain due, but like, you can see the track isn't quite as wet as before. You wouldn't believe that, though, as Genesis, man, out all over the place. And then in comparison to Santos behind in that Corvette, the Chevy Corvette, just a lot more composed.
Yeah, the Chevrolet looking, as you say, just a little bit more stable at this particular point, but still right on the gearbox of the Genesis as we head through the Blanchimont corner. And Chevrolet now ahead of Genesis and up through into third place whilst we're looking at this battle a little bit further down. So we'll have to get a replay of that overtake for position, because now it is Antonio Santos in front of Yuito Sasaki then. Out of the final corner we go. And is Sasaki going to be able to repay the favour on the Chevy down in towards turn 1? Don't think they're going to be close enough at the moment. Well, Chevrolet have shown consistently similar pace to Genesis, in fact quicker pace over the last lap by about a second or so, as BMW pick up a warning for a collision. And look at this now, BMW back in front of Lexus. So Lopez, whether he made a mistake or something like that, I'm not 100% sure, but there must have been a smattering of contact between the two. It now means the Frenchman, Leboutlé, behind the wheel of the BMW, is now back in the lead of the race.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. I mean, I'm not quite sure what happened there. Just